Hello friends, and welcome to day 2 of place value. So if we look at number 1, we're still using the place value charts from yesterday, and it says to write the number 25,049 in the place value chart. Now when they're asking us to do it this way, it's easier to start in the ones place. So we're going to start with the 9, and we're going to put that in the ones place. And then we're just going to move to the left step by step. So then there's a 4 in the tens place, and then a 0 in the hundreds place, a 5 in the thousands, and then a 2 in the 10,000s. And we don't have anything in the 100,000s for this number. So now, just like we did yesterday, we need to write the value of each digit as it pertains in this number. So, for example, the 2 is not equal to 2 because it is in the 10,000s place. So just like we said yesterday, we keep the number that we're talking about. So in this case, it's a 2. And then every place value after that number gets a 0. So in this case, we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. And then we're going to count in 3. So we know the 2 is really 20,000, which makes sense because it's in the 10,000s place. If we keep going, now we have the 5. If we look here, it's in the thousands place, so we're going to write down our 5. And then every place value to the right gets a 0. So 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 zeros. So the 5 represents 5,000. Now, the 0 gets a little tricky. If we go to the 0, it's in the hundreds place, so that means we do not have any hundreds in this number. So this number just represents 0. There's 0 hundreds, so there's no value we can give that digit. If we look in the tens place, we have a 4. So again, we keep the number we're working with, and every place value to the right, we make a 0. So the 4 represents 40. And we also talked about this yesterday. If it's in the tens place, it's like having tens rods. So in this case, it's having 4 10 rods. And if we multiply 4 times 10, we get the 40. So that's a way to check your answer. And then last but not least, we have the ones. We have 9 ones. So obviously the 9 is equal to 9 because we can't change any of these ones into a 10 rod. We don't have enough. Okay, so we just solved number 1. Now it's time to move on to number 2. Just a reminder, make sure you are trying these on your own before we finish it through it together on this video, just so you get the extra practice on your own first, and then you can check your work that way. So, very similar to number 1. Just now our number is a little bit bigger. Now we have a number in the 100,000s place. But just like last time, we're going to start with our ones place. So if for this one, we have a 0 in the ones place. We have a 9 in the tens place. A 4 in the hundreds. And I'm just going across another 0 in the thousands. A 5 in the 10,000s. And then a 2 in the 100,000s. So same idea as last time, we're just going to write the value of each digit, so how much the number is really worth. Because, for example, this 2 is not worth 2 because it's in the 100,000s place, so it's worth way more than 2. So we start with the number we're focusing on for that problem, and then we're going to count how many place values there are to the right of it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means this number is going to get 5 zeros added to the end of it. And we know that this 2 is actually worth 200,000, not just 2. Moving on, if we look at the 5, it's in the 10,000s place. So we're going to count to the right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this number is going to get 4 zeros. Meaning that this 5 is not worth 5, it is worth 50,000 because we are in the 10,000s. So 5 times 10 is 50, and then it's in the thousands place. Now, just like last time, these zeros get a little tricky. For this one, it's in the thousands place, and that just means there's no thousands in this number. So this 0 is going to stay 0 because we don't have a value. This 0 is a placeholder. It means nothing. So this 0 stays, and there's a value of 0. In the hundreds place, we have a 4. So again, we keep the number we're focused on, and then the place values to the right we make zeros, sorry. So if for this case, it is 400, and we could have figured that out too because there's a 4 in the hundreds place, meaning there is 4 100s blocks, if you want to think of it that way, in that place value, so it's 400. Now, in the tens, we have a 9, so what we need to do is keep the 9, and then place values to the right get a 0, so we have 90, and just like number 1, we can check because 9 times 10 is 90, so there are 90 tens in this number. And then, just like we did in the thousands, the 0 and the 1 stays the same. If we don't have any 1's cubes to count, it has to stay 0 because, again, that is just a placeholder. So make sure you are checking over your work with us and making sure you are being careful with your place value and the number of zeros for the value that you give each digit. Alrighty, so moving on, we have number 3, and the problem is asking us to use expanded form to understand place value. So we talked a little bit about expanded form yesterday. It's when we break apart the number into parts by place value and show them being added together. So this one, it might be a little more helpful if you went and divided up the number into the place value chart, and you can do that right off to the side over here if you would like. So I'm just going to do a quick one in the corner of my paper because I know it might help me stay organized. So we have the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and then we have the 100,000s, which we don't need. I'm not sure why I drew that one, but it's okay. So starting from the farthest right of the number is always easiest. So in the ones place we have a 9, in the tens place we have a 4, in the hundreds place we have a 0 again, and then in the thousands we have a 5, and then in the 10,000s we have a 2. So again, this part is optional. Sometimes it's just easier to see it as an expanded form easier when you have the picture to help you. So again, we're just dividing it up into expanded form, meaning we're dividing it up by place value. So to keep it simple, we're going to start with the ones, just like we did when filling out our place value chart. So in this number, we have 9 ones. And then what you're going to do now is pause, and I want you to fill in the tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. And then when you're ready to come check in, come and check your work. Okay, so now that you've tried it on your own, let's keep going. So in the tens place, we have a 4. So we have 4 tens. In the hundreds place, we have a 0. So we have 0 hundreds. In the thousands place, we have a 5. So we have 5,000s, and then in the 10,000s place, we have a 2. So we have 2 10,000s. So friends, as you can see, it is much easier to pull out the numbers for expanded form when you have the place value chart there to help you. So we have the same situation here. We are dealing with the same number. It's just combining like terms, so it's combining the thousands for this one. So if we have 2 10,000s and 5,000s, we know it's 5,000s, but we still have this 2 here, or you can look at it here too, we have this 2. This 2 is in the 10,000s place, so we need to multiply this 2 times our 10, which gives us 20. So then this 2 can just go in front of this 5, and we have 25,000. You can also just look at it as how you read the number. When we say this number, it is 25,049. So it is 25,000 in this number. And then again, we have a 0 in the hundreds. So simple, just keep the 0 there. For the tens, we have 4. If we look right here, we have 4 tens, and it matches our place value chart up here. And then we have the 9 ones again. So for this one, we're just combining the 10,000s and the thousands, adding them together, and that gives us 25,000s. Now for this one, it's combining the thousands and the ones. So the ones need to all be added all together here, and the thousands here, because again, we don't have anything in the hundreds, so we don't need to worry about it. But the 25 just comes down, it does not change. We still have 25,000s. But now for this one, we have these 9 ones, and then we have these 10s. We have 4 10s, so 4 times 10 gives us 40, meaning we have 49 ones. And if it helps to think of these as place value blocks, it's just like having 4 10 rods and turning them into ones cubes. So you would have 49 little ones cubes, if that helps thinking of it that way. And then this one, it looks trickier than it is, but it's just saying that 25,049 is equal to how many ones. And if we're counting by ones, it's just going to stay the same. So 25,049 ones is equal to 25,049. Okay, so before we go over the connect it, I want you to pause this video, and I want you to try solving them on your own, and I want you to use this part of the video as a check-in to see how well you understand this information so far. So pause here, and I'll see you back as soon as you're done with these 2 problems. Okay, so number 5, I'm just going to talk about. I'm not going to write anything down on my end because you should have some ideas written on your paper. So the question is asking, what do the expanded form and a place value chart tell you about a number like the number we just did up top, 25,049? How are they alike and different? So this problem looks a little wordy and there's a lot going on, but basically it's just asking how expanded form and place value charts are similar and different. So a possible answer you could have here is that the expanded form and the place value chart both tell the value of each digit, but expanded form shows the value of each digit in an expression, meaning how they add together, and then the place value chart shows the value of each digit in the chart. So the place value chart kind of breaks it up into pieces, where the expanded form breaks it up into expressions. So again, it looks trickier than it is, but that's very similar to the reflection question we answered in class yesterday. So if we move on to number 6, we need to complete the expanded form of each number, and we need to think about the value of each digit to help you. So letter A has 40,389 as the starting number, and they gave us 40,000 plus 300. So we have our 10,000s, our thousands, and our hundreds accounted for. And you can do the little check marks over your place value if that helps keep you on track. If not, you do not have to. It's just there to help you if you would like it. So we have our 10,000s, thousands, and hundreds place accounted for. So now we need to look at our tens place. So we keep our 8. And we know that it's not just 8 because it's in the tens place. We need to add a 0 because an 8 in the tens place is just like having 8 of the 10 place value rods. So that means our tens place is accounted for. And then we just have our 9 ones. And then if you want to go back and check, you can always just add up the numbers and see if they match. So you can add together 40,380 and 9, and that will get you the same number that you started with. So letter B is just a little bit bigger of a number. So we go all the way up to the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, hundreds, thousands place. So we're going to start with our biggest one here. The first number after the equal sign is always the biggest one. So we're going to keep our 6, and then every place value to the right gets a 0. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And that gives us our 600,000. Then we have an 8 in the 10,000s place. So we're going to keep our 8. And then every place value to the right gets a 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 place values to the right. So we get 4 zeros, meaning we have 80,000 in our 10,000s place. Then in our thousands place, we have a 2. And then every place value to the right gets a 0. So this gets 3 zeros. So we have 2,000. So we're done with the thousands. Now it's time to move on to the hundreds, tens, and ones. We have a 9 in the hundreds place. So it's like saying 900, just like we've been doing the last couple problems. And then for this one, they skipped the hundreds because there's a 0. So we don't need to worry about it. If you would like to, you can always add it to the end. That is up to you, just so you know you accounted for it. And then we have 2 1s, so that's like having 2 1s cubes. So that gives us 2. And just like we did up here, we can check and add it together. So 600,000 plus 80,000 plus 2,000 plus 900 plus 2 plus 0 would give us 682,902. So we know we're right, and we know that we made the standard form into expanded form correctly. So if you have any questions, that is the end of our mini lesson today. I am available on Google Meet right now for office hours if you have any questions or would like any help. Other than that, you can look at your daily math agenda on Google Classroom under the math topic for us, and you can find your independent practice there. Again, if you have any questions, I am available on Google Meet right now, so you can go log in if you need any help. And I hope you all are feeling great about place value.